Now, I'm a firm believer that everyone lives not one, but two lives. The life they live that everyone sees, and another one. A life they really live. A life so amazing that your mind would begin to ooze out of your brain from sheer awesomeness. So of course you hide it. Because the full dosage of such a life being made public would tear apart the very fabric of reality, and you don't really want that, do you? However, in small doses, not big ones, small ones, such a life and its stories can be told. And so without further ado, here is the untold story of Robin Goodfellow. So it's like this. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, well, not so long ago that there was no civilization. There were, I'll just say it, there were some fairies. You know, those sprightly little magical people that like to screw around with travelers, often in the woods. Yeah, well, I am one of them. And these fairies just happened to be around in the time of the Greeks, in Athens. Yeah, I know, that makes me what, a couple thousand years old? Well, I'm a freaking fairy here. It's not like that doesn't come without perks. The only real trade-off is the life insurance premium you pay once you're a few hundred years old. But I digress. Anyway, I grew up like everyone else. I went to fairy school and tried my best, but I could never quite get things right. Basically, I became the class clown. But it's not so bad. I got to intern for the fairy king, Oberon, and after I graduated, I was hired as his assistant. Of course, soon after, stuff hit the fan. Boss man's marriage got in a mess all about some new adopted kid, and his old lady, Titania, was completely miffed at him. He even threw me, the new guy, into things to take his side. I mean, sure, I'll do it, but come on, I'm an errand boy, not a marriage counselor. So to get his wife to settle down, Opie basically got me doing this thing to show her how a loving couple was supposed to be. His plan was to take some magical love-inducing nectar and sprinkle it on some poor local couple who got lost in his woods. And hey, it was a good idea too, except I got the wrong people. I thought I'd make it up by giving one guy a donkey's head but Titania got into the nectar and fell for him. And while Oberon thought it was funny, she found out about it later and basically nagged Oberon until he had to fire me. And that was that. So here I am, young fairy fresh out of school, and I just got fired from pretty much the biggest joint in town. And it was hard getting work after that, for a few reasons. I was blacklisted by royalty. Math itself was still being invented, which makes payroll calculations more difficult. And I'm a fairy. Most people aren't willing to hire someone they don't think can feasibly exist. So I putter about, for about a dozen centuries or so, doing the odd jobs and causing the expected mischief. I meet a guy named Shakespeare and tell him my story. He makes a play about it. Gets it all wrong, of course, makes it about everyone except me. But I do get the idea of performing from him. Except the only stage work I can get was working for traveling magicians and basically being that poof. I'm magical and that's what I can do, right? Eventually, the current century rolls around with its new ideas and technology, and I start working in radio broadcasting. Because after all, it's an industry where being a foot-tall mythological creature is no big deal. All I do is sit behind a microphone and talk. And so here I am. And that is the untold story of Robin Goodfellow.